Welcome to Security Controls through an Architect's Lens, a short video series where I break down security controls the way they actually work in real architectures. No tools, no window slides, just what each control does, where it belongs, and where teams usually get it wrong. So today's control is authorization. Okay, let's start. Authentication tells us who you are. Authorization decides what you're allowed to do. So most architectures obsess over login and completely mess up authorization. That's why users with valid access still cause the biggest security incidents. Authorization exists to control actions, not identities. It prevents excessive access. It enforces business boundaries. It also limits blast radius when your accounts are compromised. Imagine if authentication fails, attackers get in. If authorization fails, attackers literally own everything after that. So, where authorization belongs in architecture? Architecturally, authorization must sit as close to the resource as possible. That means your APIs, backend services, even business logic. So authorization should never live only in the front end. If your UI decides access, your backend is already compromised. RBAC stands for role-based access control. Users get roles, those roles get permissions. So RBAC works when roles are stable and predictable. RBAC fails when teams create hundreds and thousands of roles to compensate a bad application design. Then ABAC. ABAC is attribute based access control. Access is decided using attributes like user, resource, environment, and also context. So ABAC gives more flexibility, but poorly designed ABAC policies become impossible to understand in the future or even impossible to audit. That's a pain. So this is not RBAC versus ABAC. So RBAC works well for coarse grained access. ABAC works for the fine grained decisions. So most mature architectures use both of this. Jumping straight to ABAC with zero governance doesn't make you advanced. It actually makes you blind, right? So let's not do that. And some common failures, right? So these failures show up everywhere. To start with, authorization logic duplicated across different services and hard-coded permissions in every application. Access allowed by default. Sounds stupid, right? So no decision logging. If you can't explain why access was granted for something, you don't actually control it. And where and what authorization does not do. Authorization is not a magic, first thing. It doesn't fix broken workflows. It doesn't replace your segregation of duties. It doesn't correct any bad business logic if you have. So authorization enforces rules. If the rules itself are wrong, it enforces mistakes faster. I'll end with this warning. Authorization shortcuts never stay temporary. Every exception becomes permanent. So if authorization is weak, your zero trust collapses. IAM literally loses its meaning. Incidents become insider problems. So the big architecture rule here is authorization must be explicit, centralized in logic, and boring as well. So that's one control explained properly. This video is part of my security controls through an architect's lens series where we break down real architectures one control at a time. I'm Sabah. No hype, just architecture that survives reality. Thanks for listening.